You're listening to Paris Undressed on Paris Underground Radio.
Welcome to Paris Undressed. I'm Kate Kim Griffin, your host and the author of Paris Undressed, The Secrets of French Lingerie. Every week, we go behind the seams of the lingerie capital of the world to explore femininity and sensuality. And if you listen carefully, tuning into both the conversation and the whispers of your body, you'll find joy, beauty, and delight. My guest today is Ayn Crawford Lever, a certified art therapist and Reiki and Tantric Massage practitioner. As a guide and healer, Ayn integrates these roles in her dedicated wellness space, Shakti Touch, in the 17th arrondissement in Paris. Shakti means divine feminine power, and in today's podcast, we talk about what that means in relation to energy, balance, and massage. We also talk about what tantric massage is and isn't, and most importantly, we talk about the power of connection and healing through touch. Ayn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Kate. This is amazing. I'm very, very happy to be here, especially during the full moon, March full moon, feeling the power. Been up for hours and hours, excited about this.
All right. Well, listen, you're talking to somebody who knows absolutely nothing about moons. So I want to make sure we get that in later because it's always a subject that's intrigued me. And when a lot of people I know and respect and love know a lot about moons, and I always feel slightly, what are they talking about? And let's make sure we weave that into the conversation as well. Okay. So tell us just a little bit about yourself and where you grew up and what brought you to Paris, France.
Okay. So I'm American, as you can hear in my voice. I've been here since 1994. Mm-hmm. Didn't know I was going to be here basically for good then, but I have been. And I come from Philadelphia. Born in Reading, Pennsylvania, went to school in New Jersey. Colors are black and orange. Yeah. Shout out to the Tigers out there. And I don't know what you want me to tell about myself, but I have a literary background. I'm a creative person. Came to Paris to do dissertation research. Kind of got off on a different path. Ended up working at Société Générale in communications, met my husband Julien there, and then I've always been interested in creativity and in the workings of the mind. So I studied art therapy for a while. Then I had my three beautiful children, Alex, Paul, and Victoria, and through what art therapy opened up to me, I created my first business called English and Creativity, teaching English to small French children through creativity. So workshops every day after school and Saturdays through cooking. Now, today I'm doing something completely different.
I don't want you to give away all the secrets yet, because those your path and where we get to today is, like you say, a very creative journey. Back in Philadelphia, when you're thinking about your young self, what did you love to do more than anything?
Oh, wow. When I was really young, I loved climbing trees. Being out in whatever nature was in the city, climbing the trees outside my front door. Loved to read. Love spending time with my friends, just big communicator. Connection has always been really important to me. Talking, hours and hours on the phone with my best friend. And well, back then also roller skating on a Friday night, getting out and dancing on roller skates to music. Music's always been also very, very important to me. Movement and music.
And what was your relationship to fashion and to your body as you, not necessarily just as a young girl, but as you sort of moved through those early phases of femininity and becoming a woman?
As a young girl, I was really a tomboy. So I wasn't necessarily connected to what maybe we would say is something stereotypically feminine. with I didn't really dress in, dresses so much. I was always in bell bottoms and shorts, and I was climbing trees with the boys. But I was out in nature, so in a way, I was very connected to this feminine force inside me. Even though outside, I don't know, something was telling me I think I wasn't really connected to my inner feminine quite as yet.
Okay, so do you think the tomboy was it a natural flow, or was it just this sort of, not quite sure when you're talking about not understanding the femininity that was already within you? Was it safer out there in jeans and on a tree?
No, I think it was actually way more fun because I was
Oh, way more
doing
fun.
stuff and I was really in the doing I've always had a lot of energy, a lot just moving in constant movement and always asking questions, being very curious. So I'd say like sort of my yang has always been very strong. It still is today. I'm very conscious of balancing my yang more the masculine energy with this feminine energy of more just being and receiving and being sort of softer and accepting of myself and loving myself. Yeah, it was more fun and exciting to let my sort of loud energetic self go as I was younger, and I still enjoy that. I still enjoy that today, dancing, creating, but I also have learned to be more patient and more in touch with just the quiet stillness inside me and allowing that to be experienced.
Yeah, it's hard to sit still and listen to the silence and discover the quietness. Was the world that you grew up in a family such that this exploration and creativity was encouraged? Was there freedom to move in any direction you wanted to?
Yeah, I would have to say that I know my mom I think was very I think I must have driven her crazy with this exuberance and extreme energy that I had and to a certain extent. But I have to say that my mom and my dad they were divorced when I was about 10, but they were both very present in my life. And I was really, really allowed to do what I wanted to do. And, even when it meant moving away to France, I think that couldn't have been easy for my mom. But she always encouraged me to shoot for the stars. She always said, shoot for the stars. And then, you see what you get. You get the stars or you get something beautiful coming back down. And I really like that. And yeah, I have to say that she always did support me.
So back just in that transition of symbolic girl to womanhood, do you have a memory of your first bra? Can you tell us about your first bra?
I don't see it super, super, super clearly, but I know I had a training bra, and for some reason, I'm having this image of like a little blue flower
Hmm.
in between the well, I don't think it was not big enough to call them cups. I don't know the two sides, but I think there was a little blue flower there. I really never had. I was always kind of flat chested
Hmm.
until I had children and I breastfed. And then, wow, I wouldn't say we were at the Dolly Parton level, but I had huge, beautiful breasts. It was amazing. So I breastfed for like 3 years, each child 3 years. I was like loving this.
Loving the changing.
And now they've come back down to
Yeah.
something a little bit more manageable for me because I still am quite active. And I love my breasts. They're really not big, but they are, they fit in my hands. They can fit in someone else's hands and I love them. They're in good health and they bring me lots of pleasure and they are what they are.
Fabulous. It's not always the case with these.
I'm claiming them.
Yeah, claiming them and enjoying them.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're just things that they're problematic, things that fit, don't fit. And what do I do with these? I wish they were this way, I wish they were that way. So it's lovely to hear I can hear the exuberance. And for those listening, Ayn's face just lit up, this exuberance moving forward and just enjoying this part of your body that sort of almost felt like it was just whatever growing up. And that's something that came later. So that, yes, this relationship that we have with our breasts can change too.
Yeah, I even have names for them. I mean, I have the sort of well-behaved, wise one, and then I have party tit. The right tit
Okay.
is party tit.
You mean like the left, is there rebellion in left and right, or is this just
I don't know. The left always kind of stays inside my, whatever. The right tends to like pop out of my shirt, or I don't know, the dress or whatever. It seems more, I don't know, a little bit more outgoing.
yeah, the personalities.
Yeah, they have different personalities.
Well, speaking of personalities, what 3 words best describe your personality?
Sunny, creative, connected.
Beautiful. All right, let's get into your work. You are certified in Reiki, art therapy, and tantric massage, but you have also, as you mentioned, worked for a bank, taught English, and raised and are raising. Are we ever finished? Is my question now as our children transition into adulthood. But how did your work as a healer move and become the forefront of your life and way of being?
Wow. I feel like my entire life, and well, certainly professional life, has been preparing me for the work that I do today. I have a clear and constant feeling that I'm absolutely where I've always been meant to be. Well, we always are where we're supposed to be, right? At each point in time. But everything that I've done from before until now has been preparing me for the work that I do today. The healing work, yeah, it's very humbling because I work with energy, and it's absolutely it's something that's flowing through me, and it flows through every person and everything. So it's not something that I can claim I feel like I'm a channel for something that is way bigger than I am. The discovery of Reiki was life transforming. I had a wonderful coach who, when I was trying to make a transition from English and creativity to something else that I didn't quite know of yet, she just was like, you need to go and see my Reiki master, Kieran. You need to go.
As a client or
As a client,
as a client, just go
yeah,
try this and see what you think.
right. And it just blew me away. It was so strong. The sensations, like I saw things, I heard things, and I felt things that just, wow, grounded me and showed me a way out of a very difficult time in my personal, and yeah, it was more in my personal life, but it was obviously having an influence on my professional life as well. I'm not sure if with women, I really think that for women, the professional, personal life connection it's like this. They're linked. They're linked. So it showed me a path out of this really difficult point in my personal life. I just said to myself, I need this in my life every day. So I asked Kieran Chghani to pass on her knowledge, her training and so she taught me the first and second degree Reiki.
Okay, so that was your first formation, your first training of sorts, and you knew
Of
of
energy.
energy. Okay.
Yeah, energy work. And so when you are trained in Reiki, you have to spend 21 days doing the Reiki on yourself, the treatments on yourself to integrate it. And that calmed me, gave me focus, it grounded me, showed me a way towards patience and acceptance, which I just didn't have, especially for myself. So that, for that, I will forever be thankful to my coach Marie-France and to Kieran, my Reiki master, for showing me that.
If you're enjoying this episode of Paris Undressed, you may also be interested in Don't Miss This, hosted by Jennifer Garrity, who finds those off-the-beaten-path experiences and hidden gems that can make for a truly unique Parisian experience. She rounds up the best of what's happening in the City of Light, so tune into this exciting Who, What, and Where podcast. Paris Undressed will be right back after a word from our sponsors. And now, back to Paris Undressed.
So getting into Reiki also made me realize that I wanted to change my way of living and taking care of myself and my body and connecting with my body. So I started doing more yoga. I started doing more meditation. And then one day when I was meditating through Zoom with a friend, he popped the T word. He mentioned Tantra. I don't know if it's the time to talk about it now, but that was the even bigger revolution, transformation in my life, Tantra. I'd never, ever heard this word before, or it just didn't register.
Absolutely. We're going to get into that because you founded, in the end, what you did was found Shakti Touch during the pandemic. So I just want to get us sort of grounded in so what does Shakti mean? And then I'd like you to just let us know what Reiki is, and then what's Tantra, and just sort of linking this. So how do you get to where we are?
Yeah. Shakti, basically, it's a very diverse notion. On the one hand, it's divine creative power, this energy, like life force energy. It's the power to transform and destroy, to create. It's like the electric juice of life. It's not the notion of power as in you have power over people, but it's this energy, like we talked about energy before, that's present in everything. Everything is energy. That's been like the biggest revelation to me, that everything is energy.
So even if I don't know it, I have Shakti energy.
It's still there. Yes,
it's still there.
Right.
Okay.
And when you do Reiki, this energy, you're opening yourself up to this energy to flow through you, notably through your chakras, the chakra system. So it's this energy of life, vital energy that's flowing through you. And then when you make the connection with another person, whether it be in person or even from a distance, you can also do Reiki from a distance. It's this energy is flowing through you to this other person, and you're connecting and helping this person. And while you help this other person, you're also helping yourself, because in energy work, there's a constant connectedness.
Okay. So Reiki is what?
Reiki is this energy, this life force energy of kind of universal life force energy. It's like the qi in qigong, or it's energy. It's the energy that's in everybody and in everything.
Okay. And it can manifest in terms of a massage or from a distance. So how do you connect to somebody who's not in the same room with you or on the same continent?
Well, yeah, because energy doesn't need energy is always moving and is always going. Well, it's always moving, and there's always this connection. So it doesn't need your physical presence with the person. Yeah, it doesn't. It's there. There's always a transmission. I think what could be helpful is to think about intention and focus. So if you are doing Reiki healing work from a distance, you would, if you know the person, you have the image, the physical image in your mind. So you would call that image up, and you would transmit and open yourself up with the intention of sending this healing energy to that person that you can visualize that way. Otherwise, if you don't know the person, you typically would have a photo of the person, because you don't do Reiki without someone's permission and request.
Oh, right. So it's intimate.
It's
It's
it would
extremely
have
intimate.
to be wanted and intentional. I feel I'm someone that really works with touch. Physical touch is really important for me. So I really prefer to do Reiki with the posing of the hands, actually placing the hands on the person. For me, it's a connection that's most powerful for me, I feel, and I feel for my clients as well.
And when you talk about this energy that sort of goes and then flows back to you, when you're actually in the connection, is it Reiki massage? Is massage the right, or is it a Reiki session? What do you call the
Reiki, you could call it a soin in French and treatment in English. So it's not massage. It's really placing the hands on different parts of the body. that most of them are lined up with the chakras, the 7 major chakras.
And so when you're doing it, do you feel something leave you and then you feel, because you mentioned that it actually brings you vitality too, is there a depletion first and then a something that or is it actually in real time happening both ways?
No, I feel like it's a flow. So it's yeah. And you would feel things like, yeah, you don't feel depletion. You can feel some movement, like waves, especially if you're touching the body. Sometimes you can feel movement. You can feel heat or cold. Yeah, so there are physical manifestations.
Yeah, it's the sensations, the senses.
And sometimes, and also I feel reaction in my body, like my body will have like little kind of like waves, like spasms almost a little bit when I feel something going on in different parts of the client's body.
Interesting.
So there are different ways of feeling this energy moving and flowing.
Okay, and then tantra and tantric massage was something that you mentioned just earlier. As somebody mentioned, did you know anything about it beforehand? And how did this then become part of Shakti Touch and such a important part of your the way that you connect and heal and guide people?
Yeah, I didn't know. I really didn't know anything about tantra when this person just said, "Yeah, I went to this tantra retreat. It was really amazing down at the Hameau de l'Étoile by Montpellier." And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Tantra, I've never heard of it. And he's like, yeah, it's. He couldn't really, tell me in detail really what it was. It was a lot of like personal development, different exercises and interactions. And he said, massage is a really big part of it. So this was actually during the very first confinement. And I was like, well, okay. So I started looking at things on internet tantra, and well, you see everything, this, that, and the other thing, amalgam, quite often tantra, it just looks like, a big orgy and sex and whatever. And that's really not what it's all about at all. But so I decided, well, we've been cooped up in confinement. As soon as I can, as soon as this is over, I am going to go and try a tantric massage to see what this is all about. So I did. The very first day we could get out, I had a tantric massage literally around the corner because I was like, I'm not going to go too far to find this. And it was,
And amazing that it's around the corner in like you
yes,
can welcome to Paris.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So I went there, and then I just had this moment where it was like a revelation. I can't explain it. It was just this feeling, and it just was like schlack, schlack, schlack. And this balance and harmony that I had been looking for, because I was out of balance for a
Yeah.
long time. I was living in my head, mental, and just always in action, almost like a hyperactivity of like doing this, doing that, doing, mostly for others, as a lot of us women mothers tend to do. And I was like, you're totally out of it. You're disconnected from your body. You're disconnected from anything that's more, say, elevated, the spiritual side of things. And this just, I sensed, because it was nothing that I could clearly and logically explain to anybody, but I just had a sense that this was going to be very important in me finding this balance of body, mind, spirit that I felt that I needed in my life.
And did you know that you weren't balanced? Did you feel that unbalance before you went, or did you actually feel it once you realized, oh my God, I am out of whack?
Yeah, I had known for a while, and the universe sort of conspired to make me realize it, basically. I think I was maybe just I was ignoring it for a good long time, and then just, an event in my private life came along to just wake me up and say, this, you are just totally disconnected from yourself. Disconnected from yourself, from who you truly are and what's important to you. And so that started me on the path of the coaching to the Reiki and eventually to Tantra. And with some other elements in there, connecting me with my body. was clearly a path. So there's a link with South Africa, with really getting into the five senses, notably through South African wine. And that really, that there was a need to connect with my body, with the physical body.
Listening to you describe it like that, and having spoken at the beginning of the conversation, you don't actually sound like somebody who wasn't connected to her body. And yet, all these years later, you come to this realization of just how disconnected. Did it surprise you that you were so disconnected?
Yes, because I just know that there was a time in my past where I was connected, and I allowed myself to feel pleasure and to be connected with my body.
Oh, so you knew what that felt like, and you knew you'd lost something.
Exactly, exactly. And just the idea of, I think when you connect with that, you're in the flow. You're in your flow, and things become like you don't have to fight and force things. And I feel like there was a long period where I was fighting and forcing things.
Trying too hard.
And the notion of being able to like surrender a bit, let go, not give up, but let go and let things come to you was something that I could only access. I think consciously when I learned about energy and learned about the frequency at which you vibrate according to what your what's going on, what notably in your emotions, the discourse that you have in your head, how you're talking to yourself, how you're treating yourself, and are you at a level of acceptance and love and joy, or are you in fear and controlling and the sort of lower vibrational things? Because you basically are going to attract to you what is already in you, and that's the paradox. It's like you want something, but you have to already be that or have that in some way to actually have it be coming to you.
There's two words that you mentioned and that really resonate, the double side or the way we might interpret them. One was letting go, and the other one's acceptance. And in the letting go and in the word acceptance, I know that I thought for a long time that it meant that you had to just give up, resignation, and that's not what those words mean at all. Acceptance doesn't mean that you've got to accept something that you don't like. It's not about resignation at all. It's about an openness and a willing to receive, and that honestly that little word has taken such a different meaning. And once I was able, and I haven't totally got it yet, but I see that it's, oh, this is a big window. This isn't a window shutter that closes. I don't have to resign to anything. I don't have to give up anything. It's actually not about control at all. It's about opening and seeing what happens. And the letting go too isn't about giving up. It's not about, oh, I broke a rule, or I didn't diet today, or, it's not about that at all. Have those words changed for you, acceptance and letting go, in this work?
Well, I wanted to react with what you were talking about, the openness and the receiving, because that speaks to me, because it's what the divine feminine, it's a very big part of this divine feminine. The feminine nature is this being instead of the doing, and it's the receiving instead of the giving. And it doesn't mean that we can't be doing things and giving things. It's this notion of balance, the yin, the yang, the masculine, the feminine. We have everybody has both of these elements, right? The divine feminine, the divine masculine. And this notion of the divine feminine is important to me because Shakti is also, it's divine creative power, this beautiful creative energy, life force, but it's also the great goddess, Mahadevi, right? The earth goddess, whatever we want to call her. It's the divine feminine, Shakti. And everybody has this energy in them. So when I created my tantric massage business and I was trying to find a name, I really like this notion of Shakti. So it's this energy. It's the goddess. In Tantra, we call all women are Shaktis, all men are Shivas. So
Mm-hmm.
Shiva and Shakti come together, to the masculine and the feminine. So I am this, divine feminine tantric masseuse, bringing you the touch of vitality, helping you connect with your energy, with the Shakti in you. So it's Shakti me, Shakti you, and because you can't touch without being touched.
If you're enjoying this episode of Paris Undressed, you may also be interested in Paris: A State of Mind with hosts Gail Boisclair and Marie Pistinier as they talk about the ins and the outs of property rentals and purchases in and around Paris. Whether you are looking to rent or buy, tune into this exciting podcast. Paris Undressed will be right back after a word from our sponsors. And now, back to Paris Undressed.
When you massage someone, especially when it's energetic massage, you are giving, but you're also receiving. It's the beauty of the interconnectedness and the interwovenness of everything. And that's what Tantra really means. The word Tantra means a lot of things, but notably it means something it means to weave a connection, a link. And connection is one of it's probably my biggest key word is connection. That's what I really realized, that most of my life and things that I've done has been about connection in some way, shape, or form.
No, and as you were talking earlier, connection's been part of you all the way through, but it's coming together in this different way of being able to, well, as you've mentioned, connect to yourself, but also more importantly, connecting to others, even though you were doing, and that word doing it before, but it seems to have become much more expansive in the way that you're doing, and touched on the spiritual without necessarily having to decide, oh, am I spiritual? Am I not spiritual? Or what does spirituality mean? But it's in that realm of something bigger, as you mentioned earlier too. You gave us an idea of the Reiki, that, it's a channeling, a flow of energy and placing of hands, and what's then tantric massage? How are they different?
So tantric massage is, first of all, it's an energetic massage. So you're using energy. I'm going to go in and connect with the energy that's in you, notably in the second and the first chakras. I'm going to go in and get that life force energy, that énergie vitale, they say, vital energy, life force energy. That's also called sexual energy. And that's one of the reasons that Tantra sort of gets equated with sex. We're like, oh yeah, sexual energy. No, it's not sex. It's this creative energy that if you choose to make love, to have a baby, you're going to create life. Yes. But you can also choose to create yourself, create your reality, create a book, create a podcast, create a company, go out and paint, dance, whatever. It's a creation of something from nothing, right? So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to connect to your energy, and I'm going to move it all around with the massage. Move it all around. And the idea is that it does, in this very, very strong energy, doesn't stay located in your yoni, which is your feminine, technically the feminine genitalia, right? It's the yoni, the vagina, the vulva, uterus, the whole everything. It's not going to stay there. It's not going to stay in the lingam, which is the man's, the male genitalia. It's not staying focused there. It's going to move up, down, and all around, so that your entire body is empowered with this vital energy. Okay. And it's tantric massage is a massage all over the body with the authorization of the person. So that would also include the private parts, the yoni, the lingam, the breasts, which are not typically massaged in say a Californian or shiatsu massage. And that's with absolutely no sexual connotation, no sexual act. It's just the body. In Tantra, the body is considered sacred. It's a temple. And there's no part of the body that's taboo. taboo.
Yeah, tattoo. You might see some tattoos,
You may
but you
have
might,
tattoos, but it's not taboo.
and it's not taboo, no.
Exactly.
And so in the receiving the tantric massage and in learning, in the process of learning, what surprised you the most in learning how to give a tantric massage?
What surprised me the most? There is something that is bigger than we are that takes place during a tantric massage. And in after some sessions, I am actually brought to tears by the power of the emotion that come to me, but that I also see the client experiencing. And it's like something takes over. There's a magic, and you can call it, mystical, spiritual. It's something that goes beyond. It's not organized religion. It really doesn't depend on any kind of a religion, but it's just knowing that there's something bigger, and this notion of being connected, and everything being interconnected, which is basically one of the major teachings of Tantra. First of all, you learn to be connected and accepting of yourself, so that you can be accepting and connected with other people and the world around you. All is one. It's not black or white, or day or night. It's non-duality, basically. Everything coexists. Everything is one. So yeah, I would say that really the power of this massage, to connect you with yourself, parts of yourself that you didn't remember, because I would say that's you reconnect to yourself.
Yeah, there's a great deal of wonder in what you do. I mean, that sort of jaw-dropping awness of life and vitality.
Yeah, it's very humbling. It's very humbling, because I really call myself a guide, and I thank my clients each time for choosing me as their guide, because I am along on their journey. For me, a tantric massage is a journey, and I am a guide that is also experiencing this journey that they're on, obviously from a different perspective, but there's a sharing. There's a sharing of energy in the time and space that we spend together.
Yeah, you've mentioned the perhaps misconceptions or the ideas that people have about tantric massage. And in the work that you do, it requires a great deal of trust and letting go, as we've mentioned, on behalf of your clients. And it also involves accepting vulnerability and being at ease with somebody massaging and touching you. And this isn't easy for many of us. So, what would you say to someone who has never tried Reiki or tantric massage and who might be apprehensive or uncertain about the whole process?
Wow. Yeah. It's so many clients actually come with the request to let go, to be able to let go. They know they want to, they're not able to do it in their daily life. And they're looking for a safe place, like maybe like a secret garden, a safety place, to be able to do that. And yeah, the vulnerability is definitely there on both sides. First of all, it's never a requirement to be completely naked to receive this massage. The energy will flow no matter what. It's just, I use oils. So if you have clothing on, it can get a little messy for the clothing. And it feels so much better to just have the hands and the energy and the oil moving freely. But before, in this vulnerability of, say, presenting themselves, their naked body in front of me to be massaged, there's first of all becoming naked emotionally, I would say, like being vulnerable emotionally. So there's a first step in my massage sessions where the person comes into Shakti Touch, and we sit down and we have Ayurvedic tea together, and we talk. So it's a progression. It's very gentle, And that way they get to meet me, to know me, and to have a feeling of who I am, and that they will learn to trust me then. And if it's not the right moment, they can always leave and come back another day. But it's really progressive. So it's, I would say, give yourself the gift of believing this, and taking this first step of trying. Just trust, first of all, trusting yourself. Trusting yourself. If you can trust yourself and let go, you can trust the other person, notably me in this situation.
Yeah, I think there's something about, well, this applies to anything in life. If you've never done it, but there's this slight curiosity about kind of wanting to, well, that's a little, you want to. So
And it's intuition also.
it's intuition. And as you say, you can come back another day, and this is the same conversation we have in any kind of lingerie discussion or intimacy as well. At whatever point it doesn't feel right, that's enough. That's
Exactly. And you
enough.
know what? I'm glad you said that, because first of all, it's progressive. In French, they say qui peut le plus peut le moins. So we'll start small, take the small step. You don't feel comfortable with your body. You don't want to be, you want to keep your underpants on, even your bra. It's fine. If at any moment you feel like you want to take it off, you want to liberate the rest of your body, that's fine too. But in Tantra, we accept. It's all about acceptance. On accueille ce qui est là. We accept what is there. And first of all, yeah, accepting yourself, accepting your body. It's hard. Not everybody
It's
is
so hard.
happy with their body. Not everyone accepts their body. And it's a lot about self-love and self-care. But so it's progressive, and the notion of respect. In Tantra, whether it be a Tantra retreat, Tantra massage, there are a few key words. We have confidentiality. When you come to Shakti Touch, whatever you share with me stays there. There's respect. First of all, respect for yourself. What are your limits? What are your boundaries? What feels good and right for you? And always listen to that and let the other person know. So respect for yourself and respect for the other person. It's a two-way street.
Listen, I think that is such an important, I mean, just it really bears being said again, because things change. I can think of a number of times where you say to yourself, well, I said I was going to do it this way, so I guess that's what has to happen. Well, no. You can change your mind, not because, oh, you're flippy and change your mind. It's just now your body and this tuning into your body, and that more that you do it, you will actually hear your body and you won't be overriding it. And so, and when it's too much or not enough, and when you mention progressive too, it doesn't mean it has to progress that day. It doesn't have to be in that next minute. It might just take a bit longer, and that's okay.
Right. And your body will talk.
Your body will talk. Yeah, and tuning in back into that intuition and that instinct. If something's not right, you know what? You don't actually have to figure out the words of why right then. Just know that right now that's enough, and that's okay. So I think that's, especially with this subject that we're talking about, tantric massage and the innuendos that kind of go around. And I mean, I hear a lot about innuendos in lingerie. I can't imagine what you get when you're talking about tantric in cocktail situations.
Oh,
But there's a lot
yes.
of jokey jokes that go around, and it can, there's lots of nervous laughter and this sort of, I don't know, as a woman, even listening to it, I sort of feel like I might walk past a curtain and never be able to get back out again without having sort of, I don't know, whatever happened. So I just think it's really important that this discovery and exploration and trusting doesn't mean just sort of having to let whatever happen happen. If you're enjoying this episode of Paris Undressed, you may also be interested in romancing in Paris with host Lily Heisey, as she reveals the most captivating romantic places in Paris. Tune into this dreamy and sometimes steamy podcast. Paris Undressed will be right back after a word from our sponsors. And now, back to Paris Undressed.
Communication is important. Asking questions, asking for information. What is this all about? So, I mean, I always talk to potential clients over the phone first. Ask them, what are they looking for? Why is Tantra on their radar right now? Where are they in their life? You know, what are they? Are they on the path to more spiritual awareness? Are they, is it personal development? Do they practice meditation, yoga, or are they just looking for, something else? And there are a lot of people who are looking for something else, and there's zero judgment. I tell them, you're looking for something else. Okay. That's not what I do. That's not what I do. You will find that. Continue on, searching. There's no judgment, but just know that this is my framework, my cadre, and all of that. Something else is elsewhere.
In that something else, are you talking about happy endings?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and does that come up a lot?
And I'm very, very, very direct when I talk to people. I say this is not sex. There is no happy ending, pas de finition. And I don't even want to engage in that conversation. It's very clear on my website. I'm a member of the Association Massage Tantrique, so that we have a professional, an ethical professional guideline, a charter that we have to respect. So yeah, there's no finition, there's no sex. We're dressed when we massage. I don't massage in the nude. It's not naturiste, which also exists, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's something sexual. It's a choice to, and I make the choice I wear a bikini because it's really hot in the room to allow the client to let go, and to, the body needs to have a certain warm temperature. So I'm in a bikini. So I am dressed, and there's no sort of gray area, and you don't massage me.
Well, I just think that's really important for listeners to know just actually how much choice there is out there, and what misconceptions and perceptions can be. You have degrees in comparative literature and French literature. And what is it about this study of literature, linguistics, language, and cultural expression that inspires you? And how does that learning, or the learning from the linguistics, inform and nourish your work now?
I think it would go back to the notion of communication, and communication in a different way than the communication that we're doing now for information, and bringing it up a level. So creativity and beauty in literature, a message that's not just like the grocery list and important and just informational stuff, but that takes us to a higher realm, as poetry and art do, which makes a link with art therapy, because there's communication. So it's nonverbal communication, which so finding myself in the world of massage, which is absolutely nonverbal, doesn't surprise me. It's a sort of a logical progression through through communication, words, just everyday informational stuff, and then progressing through literature, through the nonverbal, and then to the corporal, to the physical, to the body.
This is a perfect link because it's exactly these two worlds I wanted to talk about. I'm so curious about this juxtaposition of verbal and nonverbal communication, and the forms of expression and connection, and that the structure and the integrity and the nuance of oral and verbal communication through speech, and the structure, integrity of nuance of nonverbal communication through the language of the senses. And how do you navigate, and you've started to talk about this, but let's give it some more space. How do you navigate and weave together these two worlds?
Okay, yeah. So this comes back to what I mentioned about this balance and harmony of would you say the body, mind, and spirit, the mental, the verbal, the conscious. That's all important. It has its place, but it's not the only thing. Connecting with the nonverbal, with the physical, with the body, it's a necessary step. That's why I don't just massage. I also allow a space. I create a space for the verbal, for the conscious, for what needs to be set down, what needs to be expressed verbally. The body has its own ways of expressing things. Unfortunately, some of the ways are not so pleasant. For example, disease. and issues that we have with our bodies, aches and pains, being blocked in our movement. Those are all ways that the body finds to speak. And when we go into the sacred space, the temple, for a massage voyage, we're going to listen to the language of the body. We're going to go in and touch places and press on places where the energy and where this what needs to be expressed has been blocked, and we're going to let things flow more freely and allow the body to express itself in a healthier way. So sometimes during or at the end of a tantric massage, there'll be laughter, there'll be tears, there'll be sound. The body, some people don't just lie there still and receive the massage. Their body needs to move. Their body needs to make noise. And that's all good. It's all natural and it's all good.
When you were describing that, and I've been somebody who's come late to understanding the senses in the body, and really honing in on words and language and what does something mean. And I think I've gone through language differently, sort of reading the word and then deciding that's what I was supposed to feel, but not actually going the other way. And poetry, for instance, or even the opera have been things that I've really, really struggled to even understand. However, as I've started to understand and understand what the senses are and actually feel them, poetry and music I suddenly understand, and the two of them start actually interacting. And so the words are so important to me, because while at the same time there are things that are bigger than words, but if we can't express ourselves in some level of that, then it's not enough for me. The language and the words are that important. And you've done everything from teaching basic English, like how to get somebody to turn right and not left. And we do need those instructional languages, and even to be able to express what we're feeling requires language. But you can't do it unless you feel it. But once you've felt it, then where are the words? But at least the thirst for the words, you actually know what you're trying to express, as opposed to conforming into, oh, that's what beauty is. Whatever. I guess, I don't know. Or when people talk about this divine power, femininity, sensuality, lingerie, intimacy, if you don't know what it feels like, you can't even go looking for the words. And if you can't find the words, but maybe you can read somebody else's beauty and understand the power of that. And that sort of feels like what you're describing.
Absolutely.
These worlds of yours.
I love words.
Aren't they beautiful?
Yeah, but I really feel that there's something else that's linked to these words. It's not just words themselves, but they're memories of other things. There's and links with feelings, with emotions, and stuff that comes up for us. And I have a favorite poet, Rumi, and I quote him all the time on my Instagram account. And he just has a way of, it's almost like he's part of me or something like that, because he mixes words and images together. It's like, this is in me. So there's this connectedness, and it's just another example of how I'm aware that we are somehow all connected, really.
This universality of, it does, we connect personally, and then we have this slightly overwhelming sometimes, as well as reassuring, this beauty of humanity, even when there's so much sadness and hurt going on. But when we can, and I think it's that fine line between deciding whether you're an optimist or not, but it's always that other side, that beauty of humanity that lets me decide, oh, that's the way I'm going that way.
You're going that way.
Or I'm going that way.
Right. Knowing that you have the other part within you.
Yes.
The shadow
Doesn't
side,
mean
the
that
dark side.
I'm not ignoring the
Right.
other side, but it's just like, no, for this to work and for what and it doesn't take much. You can be a little bit down, but you find somebody else who actually is a little bit on the other side too. And then guess what? There's 2 of you.
Exactly.
And then there's 3 of you. And then there's 4 of you.
Yeah.
And you don't feel so alone. you
Yeah.
know?
And these people you're going to, you're probably on the same vibrational level, and they're mirrors and messengers for you, right? Where and showing you where you are in your life right now, what's important to you, what's that connection that you share.
And I'm hearing that word openness again, that it just takes everything, moves us closer to this openness of universal humanity and feeling connected. Your work as a healer helps people feel more connected to themselves and to others. How has your own work, as you've been doing it a bit longer now, influenced your own sense of well-being and connection? You described earlier that there were sort of moments of doubt, and not necessarily sort of doubt, but difficult moments. How has now taking this on and making a business out of it and actually connecting to all these people, has it nourished your own well-being?
Yeah, absolutely. How to say this? Just from basic things like just taking care of myself better, learning to listen to my body and what does it require, which doesn't mean that I don't, sort of have moments where I forget and I try to give too much or do too much, and then my body sort of calls me to order. Says, whoa, whoa, no, slow it down. You need to look after yourself, give yourself time, go out and connect with nature, eat a nourishing meal, make sure you're drinking enough water. So look after yourself. It's also really taught me to step back and breathe. That's one of the biggest things in Tantra. The very, I would say the first week or two of my Tantra initiation was learning how to breathe. And you're like, what? I know how to breathe. Otherwise, I'd be dead, right? No, you don't. You're in this sort of upper chest, almost apnea breathing where you're just, and sometimes I get through the day, I'm like, did I actually breathe? I have no idea. Did I breathe? But being aware of the breath that is down in your belly, and and that really nourishes you. So learning to slow down, remember to breathe and to calm things down and to be patient, and I'm just learning. I'm not saying, this is a path, and so there are slip ups along the way, and it's kind of a spiral. It's not a straight line to I'm going to be this enlightened person and everything's fine, but learn to not react to every single thing, aggression or something that someone says, and to try to see the good in everything. That's always, well, I am that way. I'm like you mentioned, I'm like the positive, the glass half full all the time, and it's half full, and you can fill it even more, especially if it's wine, good wine.
Yeah. South African wine.
Right, South African
Yeah.
wine or French. It's okay.
Or French.
Yeah,
White or red, pink.
yeah. But yeah, just opening up the heart, trying to be in this connection from the heart, where you're seeing the good, feeling the good. There's a book that I talk about all the time, and I've bought for like everybody in my close circle. It's called The Four Agreements, and
The Four Agreements?
yeah, The Four Agreements. It's been translated in every single language in the world, and it's common sense. It's really basic, but there's one of the things is with the very first agreement is that your word should be impeccable. And basically what it comes down to is that you are positive and you're bringing good out of you to the other person, because first of all, it does good to you. It does good to you. And if your words are hateful and in anger and whatever, that they come up out of your body and they hurt you very first of all, before hurting this other person. So once again, so we get this connection. It's interesting. We come back to what you mentioned.
And the energy.
It's verbal, but it's also physical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because words have, they're linked to memories, to feelings, to emotions. Trying to stay in the positive, in the giving, in the loving, in the healing. That's what this is really brought to me, and connecting with people in a different, more positive way. You know, that thing where like it doesn't cost anything to smile, and it could really, really honestly change someone's day, possibly their life. You don't know what they're going through.
Mom was right the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Radiate. Just
Just
radiate the energy.
radiate. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's a common word and we hear it all the time, but connection, but just I think that's a lovely place to sit as we connect and make connections moving forward, and then the effort that it takes to continually make that happen to ourselves and to others as well. Ayn, it's just been a privilege and a delight to speak with you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Kate. This has been a beautiful, connective moment. And I wish you all the best with this wonderful, wonderful project. Thank you for having me as a guest.
To learn more about Ayn's work, visit shaktitouch.com. That's SHAKTITOUCH.com, and on Instagram at Shakti Touch. And thank you. Merci for listening to Paris Undressed. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please share and subscribe so we can continue to connect our stories one bra at a time. You can find me, your host, Kate Kemp Griffin, on all socials at Paris Undressed and at Catherine Kemp Griffin. You can also find the links on our episode page. Paris Undressed is produced by Paris Underground Radio. For more on this show and shows like it, please go to parisundergroundradio.com. Merci et à la prochaine.
This episode of Paris Undressed was produced by Jennifer Garrity for Paris Underground Radio. For more on this show and shows like it, please visit parisundergroundradio.com.